also, we recently found out that before they called it the blockchain, it was called the time chain. So like prior to the white paper coming out, in points in time, they were referring to the blockchain as a time chain. And, the whole thing about Space Quest, it's about time travel, right? Space Quest 4, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers. So we know that in the beginning, it was all about, time, right? So the time for as you're building your blocks in the blockchain. But in a community-driven vote, right? And then I referenced it on November 9th of 2008, right? So we're going back 17 years later. Satoshi Nakamoto and Hal Finney coined the term blockchain, right? So again, we just think that everything that we're going back to is gaming was a really big thing, right? And in gaming, we just think it was the birth of what we all know today as Bitcoin, right? That in the gaming community, a lot of these guys were, I call them mathematical savants, right? In quant analytics and stuff like that. And, they spent part of their time, right, in gaming and then part of the time in cryptography. So you have that. But now let's go even a step further. So Hal Finney dies of Lou Gehrig's disease. Upon his death, his wishes are to be frozen in a cryogenic state. So his body is now at a place called Alcor Labs in Arizona. And so he has been frozen in a cryogenic state.
So he's not really dead.
Yeah. So, and he hopes to maybe, when technology gets to be in a better place. But we joke around about this to say that, remember, there are hot wallets in crypto and there are cold storage, right? And you have a person that denies being involved in this, yet he is now in a cryogenic state in cold storage, right? So there's that piece of the puzzle. Then there's a gentleman, I got to look at my notes here because I didn't want to forget. So there's a guy named Brad Armstrong, right? So not Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, but there's a guy named Brad Armstrong who was very well known. He's a crypto entrepreneur.